everyone and welcome back. My name is Jeffy and this is my best friend, Android the Chihuahua. Today we have a special project going on because today is a very special day. It is July 27th and it is my birthday. We don't know his birthday, so we decided this year that his official birthday from now on is July 27th as well. So he turned 9 today and I turned 27. So 27 on the 27th. I've been looking forward to this for a very long time. And to celebrate, we are going to make some soap in the theme of my absolute favorite cake ever, the Funfetti cake. So here lined up, I have 6 different colors of mica powder as well as a white mica powder that we'll put into the majority of our soaps. And then here is a little 2-pound loaf mold that I will be using. I did a little bit of math for us ahead of time, and I will insert a little clip of this here so that you guys can kind of understand how I did the math to get how many ounces of each of these little colors we're gonna need. Here is our little formula. This is a 2-pound mold, so that's how I got the 32 ounces. And then we're going to times that by, in parentheses, the height that we want our sprinkles to be. And I decided for this about 1/3 of a centimeter was perfect. And then you want to divide that by the total container height in centimeters. And you're going to want to make sure when you type that into a calculator to use your parentheses, or else this number will come out really funny looking. And over here I have what I've done the math for our little project today. And for a 2-pound mold, we're going to be using about 1.76 ounces of each of our colors. So this is the overall formula. Feel free to pause it if you need to look at it, or simply use a 2-pound container like I'm doing, and then you can just, steal my math from this page and go ahead and use 1.76 ounces of melt and pour for each of your colors. So to begin our first layer of colored soap, I have a giant hunk of clear melt and pour, and I'm just going to measure out 1.76 ounces. Now, in theory, you could use white melt and pour for this, but the reason that we don't is because our colors will be a lot brighter if we use the clear color. All right, so we'll pop this in the microwave. All right, so this is completely melted down. Now, in theory, you could definitely put scent oil into all of your colors plus your soap base, but instead of doing that, because these are such small little batches and it'd be a lot to measure out, I'm just going to make sure that we put the maximum amount of fragrance oil in our white soap, and that should make the entire bar smell really good. That way I don't have to worry about trying to measure out the exact amount of scent for such small portions. So I'm just going to start, I guess, at the beginning of our rainbow with this red and add a little bit. And I'm going to stir this. Now, I don't normally have a problem getting micas to mix into my melt and pour soap, but if you don't want to have to deal with breaking up any large clumps, just mix your mica powder with a little bit of 90 proof alcohol in a separate jar before tossing it in, and that will solve that little problem for you. This mica powder is rose pearl mica. So this should be really beautiful, and I got it from Brambleberry. That's where I get most of my stuff from. And because we're doing such small batches, they can really set up on you quickly. Just pop it back in the microwave for an extra 10 or 15 seconds if you need to. All right, everything looks really nice and pink to me, so I'm going to go ahead and pour. Don't forget to spritz the top of your soap with a little bit of alcohol. That just gets rid of any bubbles and makes the top look gorgeous. So all that's left to do, I guess, is to clean out my dirty little jar, and then I will come back. Hopefully this will be ready to peel, and then we can continue on with our colors. So that is our first slab. I'm really excited about it. I love the color, and I really think we did a good job with our math. That height looks just about perfect to look kind of sprinkly to me. That looks so pretty. I think we're just about ready to pour. And if you pour pretty much directly in the middle, it should spread itself out with gravity. This yellow color looks stunning, and this yellow is actually a combination of 2 colors. It's a little bit of this yellow mica from Brambleberry, and then a little bit of this gold sparkle mica, and that just makes it a little bit darker. And I don't know, I just really love the combination of the 2. We're getting super close. We just have 2 more colors, and here I have mixed our blue. I really love this. Super bright. Here we have our completed 6 sheets of soap, and they're all in these really pretty shiny colors. The next step for us is going to be to take a potato peeler, and then we're just going to go down the long side of this over and over again until we've got it all completely shaved. Now that we have all of our soaps completely put into strips, I'm going to separate this into 2 piles. Now our first pile is going to be the pile of things that we throw on top of our soap. And technically speaking, this is all up to you. I love how these huge rings look, so I'm going to take a few of each of these rings from each color. That way the rings that we put on the top of our soap are really large. And then in this other pile over here is just going to be the rest of it, because we are going to chop those up into little pieces. That way these look like sprinkles in our mix. You, technically speaking, could just throw this into your soap and you'd end up with a pretty cool looking design. However, I would not consider that design to be funfetti, because funfetti looks like sprinkles, and if you throw just these giant circles in your soap bar, some of the things on your cut will look like giant lines instead of just little sprinkle pieces. Once you have all of your pieces selected to put on top, you can just set these to the side. Our next step is going to be to take the rest of our funfetti pieces, and we're going to cut these into little sprinkle sizes. There's a couple ways you could do it. You could just take a knife to this giant thing and see what happens, or you could go this route, which is going to take quite some time. But I am just straightening them all out in a hand, and then once I have a good bunch, I'm going to just start at one side and go all the way down with my knife to try and get these to look as sprinkle size as possible. So these are 2 sections of little embeds that we have made, and they look really good. They remind me of sprinkles. I did end up switching over to using scissors about halfway through because I found out that it cuts a little bit quicker. However, I did have some slightly larger pieces than I wanted when I used the scissors, so I just had to kind of go through here again and make sure everything was up to my standards. The only thing I'm thinking now is that we maybe made too many sprinkles. This is a little 2-pound mold, so I would say that this is probably enough embeds for 2 of these molds, and we are just going to be doing 1 of these little 2-pounders today. So I'm going to go ahead and section off what we'll be using, and I'll just pour about half onto this plate. And then I'll go ahead and take about half of our toppers as well. Alright, so this is what we are going to be actually using in our soap. And the reason I did this was so that we can take our little scale and figure out about how much soap we already have made. I'm going to take our 2-pound mold and subtract this little number, and that's how I'm going to know exactly how much cold process soap I need to make. Now, your recipe for your cold process is going to depend on you and what you would like to use. If you're brand spanking new and you just want to be confident that what you're doing is going to come out correct, Brambleberry sells bags of pre-mixed oils, and I've used them before. I've been very satisfied with the quality, and so if you don't have a recipe of your own, you can go to Brambleberry and pick up a bag of their premix, and then all you'll need to add to that premix is some water and lye. So I'm gonna run outside and prep our water lye, and then I will meet you guys back here to finish off our soap. I just gave our oils and our lye water a really good stir. Now I'm going to add in our scent oil and our sodium lactate. And then I'm just going to stir this really well. The next thing we're going to want to add a little bit of is this titanium dioxide pigment, and that'll just make sure that our white is very white. Our soap mixture looks really nice. It's a nice medium trace. So now we just need to prepare our little sprinkles, and to do this we're going to spritz them really well with some 90 proof alcohol, and just make sure that you get the alcohol all over. And to do that you might need to get your hands a little bit dirty. Just give it a good stir and spritz it until you think it's all covered. Alright, once you're feeling confident that your pieces are completely covered, you can just toss them into your batter and give them a good stir with a spoon. I'm feeling pretty satisfied with the amount of sprinkles we got in this, which is about half of the sprinkles that we originally made. So once you are satisfied that your batter is mixed in as much as you'd like, we're going to move this into our mold. All right, that top is looking really good to me, so now we're just going to hit it with some alcohol spray. Then we can go in with our fun little doodads and make a cool design. All right, so those are all where I want them to be, and now I'm just going to slowly kind of press down, and that should get them situated. And I'm just going to spray it with the alcohol one more time. So I've officially pulled our soap loaf out of the mold, and right off the bat I'm seeing a couple things that I could have done a little better, like a little bit of bubbles in our batter. And to avoid getting bubbles in the batter, just don't raise your mixer as high as I did. If your mixer starts to hit the top of your soap batter, you'll end up with some bubbles. You can kind of see them there, and there's another one there. So definitely something to keep in mind for next time. Overall though, I'm really happy with our soap. It smells delicious, it hardened really well, and I think we are ready for our cut. Now, because we have so much stuff on top, I'm going to turn this bar on its side. That way they don't get dragged down by our strings when we go in for our cut. Time for our moment of truth. And I'm just slowly applying pressure to the top. Yay! If I'm being honest, because of how many soap bubbles we had, I was not expecting the inside of our soap to turn out as beautiful as this looks, but I'm very happy with all of those little funfetti pieces. These look amazing. Now all I need to do is let these cure for 30 days and I'll be ready to add them to my shop. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this video. I really enjoyed making this soap, and I'm excited to make a lot more soaps. If you'd like to see more, please hit that like button and subscribe so I can see you again. Bye.